Hi everyone, Mitch here with MyRSILife.com. In today's video, I want to talk to you about why you should read It's Not Carpal Tunnel Syndrome by Suparna Damany and Jack Bellis. This is a really amazing book and I highly recommend that anyone with RSI or worried about RSI read this. This book is primarily for new patients who are experiencing symptoms of RSI. They will benefit the most from this, but if you have been a chronic sufferer and suffering from this for many years, there's still a ton of value to be had by reading this book. And as well, healthcare professionals. If you're a healthcare professional, you should read this book too. This book was published in the year 2000, so despite being a 22-year-old book by this point, by the filming of this video, it is still chock full of really great information. So let's get into these reasons here. Reason number one is to learn how to distinguish between the causes and the symptoms of RSI. Anyone who has experienced RSI can be totally confused by just the sheer abundance of information that, and a lot of times misinformation that's on the internet, in books, and advice out there with very little substance or very little evidence backing it up. When I first was injured, I was really frustrated by this. Like, what's the correct posture? What position should I hold my hands in when I type? What's the best ergonomic keyboard? The best ergonomic chair? Nobody has the answers to these questions. And the best information we have comes from theories by doctors and specialists who have a long track record of treating RSI patients. Suparna Damany is one of those specialists. The authors propose that RSI symptoms like pain and numbness in the upper body and extremities are caused by a typical set of root causes, which then lead to a devastating chronic feedback loop. The authors illustrate and describe the pain cycle. You can see kind of an intro here on the back cover. They also go into detail in a chapter in this book. Reason number two is to debunk the myth that carpal tunnel is the diagnosis for most computer-related repetitive strain injuries. Carpal tunnel is a specific condition where the median nerve is squished by inflammation or fluid buildup in the narrow gap between the carpal bones at the bottom of your wrist right here. Carpal tunnel, or CTS as you can call it, should be solved by measures applied to the carpal tunnel part of the wrist. True CTS is typically caused by physical anomalies like a broken bone that's healed in a way that constricts the carpal tunnel, or some folks are just born with a constricted carpal tunnel. Carpal tunnel may develop as a result of computer use, but just as likely are many, many other diagnoses and painful disruptive conditions. Reason number three is to identify the predisposing factors in your lifestyle and personality that may be contributing to your RSI. Discover whether you are susceptible to RSI using the author's susceptibility questionnaire. There's a lot of checklists and questionnaires in this book that are super handy for helping you learn about yourself and learn about your habits. Gauge to what degree your lifestyle, your age, your medical history, and workaholic tendencies are contributing to your risk of computer-related injury. The authors put a big emphasis on the risk of being a workaholic. I know myself, I am very guilty of this habit of being a workaholic for a lot of years. And that, of course, led me to injury. Reason number four is to classify your RSI condition. This goes along with number two. It's not carpal tunnel syndrome, most likely. It's probably something else, something from a long list that the authors go through in chapter after chapter. And they also describe the tests that doctors may put you through. Lab tests and clinical tests. We've all seen this one, Finkelstein's test. Pull your thumbs down like this until it hurts and you say, owie. And that determines to what degree you have de Quervain syndrome, one of my diagnoses here. Reason number five is to read about stories from actual RSI patients and their success stories and their experiences. On nearly every other page of this book, the authors showcase quotes and first-hand accounts of former patients treated by Suparna Damany. These sections are highly relatable to folks who have experienced RSI, and they validate the readers and the author's experience. They really make you feel like you're not alone in this condition, and I know this condition can feel very isolating. especially if no one else at your work or personal life talks about it. Reason number 6 is to learn human anatomy. You should definitely equip yourself with knowledge of your body. The authors are really good at providing descriptions of the upper body anatomy in ways that non-experts like me can understand. Learn about the spine and the neck, and the thoracic outlet is part of your shoulder there that lets nerves out, and the brachial plexus, the 3 main nerves of the arm and hand, the ulnar nerve on this side of your elbow, the radial nerve on the inside, and the median nerve in the middle. And then they describe the arm and hand, shoulders, forearms, fingers, all that stuff. And they also describe how connective tissue and fascia play a very important role in the body's movement. Moving on down here, let's get to reason number 7, and that is to learn specific ways to get relief, either with the help of a therapist or on your own. The authors provide their recommendations for proven treatment activities and ways to improve your workstation and workplace habits. The first recommendation is to closely manage your own RSI recovery. We've said this, a lot in other videos before too. And then tactically, they give just a long list of things to do, and they give deep descriptions. The best part about reading this book is just the freaky pictures of these 90s era CGI kind of demonstrations. Avoiding typing, getting deep tissue massage, getting trigger point massage, stretching and developing your mobilization, exercises for strength and endurance. You can see we're filming here in a gym. Big shout out to DC Health and Fitness here in Denver, Colorado. I will put links to their contacts in the description. I hired them after my injury. The book also provides illustrations and descriptions for many of the recommended self-treatments. They also list some debatable therapies, or therapies which, may be hit or miss with success and should be used at your own risk. Specifically, they are wearing a brace, getting surgery, taking painkillers like ibuprofen and aspirin, and treating with cortisone. The 8th and final reason is to build your action plan for treating and preventing RSI. Learn how to keep a log or journal of your experiences, write down your activities, write down your symptoms day to day, and write down your physical fitness and your physical improvements over time, and as well your emotions about RSI. Rate the frequency and severity and endurance of your recovery and of your hands and arms. The authors include a chapter on how to actively prevent RSI. I won't list all the steps to you here, but I will say that they all involve getting help from other people, like your managers at work, doctors and specialists, and people who can help hold you accountable for your fitness and recovery, like a workout buddy, or like I said, personal trainer, occupational therapist, physical therapist. So in conclusion, speaking of action plan in reason 8, the key word there is action. By watching this video and hopefully by reading this awesome book, you have taken the first steps to learn how to recover. However, reading books and watching these videos is not enough to help drive your recovery. You need to hold yourself accountable. You need to take the advice given in these books and by those professionals. So thanks so much for watching. I hope this book helps you. I hope this video helps you, and best of luck on your RSI recovery. Thanks so much.